Hello again. It's been a while, but I have been reading. Not as quickly as I would like to, but still, reading. Let's start with my first book from my free Kindle Halloween reading recommendations. Agatha Christie's The Mysterious Affair at Styles. This was the book I got held up on. I meandered slowly through it despite it being a fairly short book. The fact that it was Agatha Christie's first published work on a genre that I'm so-so about might have something to do with it. Golden Age mystery novels are often referred to as a sub-genre. It might be a harsh comment on the whole genre, but if the shoe fits... Shoe fitting. Not doing that today. It is a book that takes more time with the mystery itself than any in-depth look at the characters. It is the CSI of the book world, and I'm ready to close the book on that TV show. So my rating on this book is going to be a little bit low, but I thought for this review I would try to do something fun and talk about the 10 commandments of Golden Age detective fiction writing, and how Agatha Christie is the Moses of a genre. It was Ronald Knox, a man who I think later became a church minister, who codified the rules of the game in 1927.
Rule number 1. The criminal must be mentioned in the early part of the story, but must not be anyone whose thoughts the reader has been allowed to know.
I don't really know what accent that was. It's gonna happen again. This, of course, happens in The Mysterious Affair at Styles. You meet the killer in the early part of the story. But, come on! You meet everyone in the beginning of the story. Very hard to keep the characters and the suspicions you have of them straight. I thought it was doing that. I don't know. Oh my god. And yeah, you never know the inner thoughts of the murderer. You don't even know the inner thoughts of Hercule Poirot. Kind of weirdly hidden for some reason. The story is narrated by a distant friend of Poirot, who involves Poirot in solving the murder and is his sidekick during the adventure.
Rule number 2. All supernatural and preternatural agencies are ruled out as a matter of course.
I.e., the ghost butler didn't do it.
Sorry to give that away.
Who is it? Well, Christie twists and turns your mind over the possibilities.
Rule number 3. Not more than one secret room or passageway is allowed.
I read an Agatha Christie novel just before this one called The Spider's Web, which I actually like more than this one, where the story centers around a secret passageway that was revealed to the reader early on in the story. Christie doesn't have any secret passageways or rooms in this story, but there are a lot of locked doors. Or are they?
Rule number 4. No hitherto undiscovered poisons may be used, nor any appliance which will need a long scientific explanation near the end.
Well, poison is used in this story, but it's a common one. However, Christie uses the side effects of the poison, or the lack thereof, as a major center point in her story.
Number 5. No Chinaman must figure in the story.
Now, as far as I can gather, this is not as racist as it sounds, or if it is, then it's an attempt to be semi-flattering in a stereotype. From what I can tell, Chinaman refers to the mastermind, the arch enemy that is usually behind the whole plot of the story. Neither is easily and very non-mysteriously the murderer, or never mentioned till the end. See rule number 1. Side note. The reason I was very little annoyed by the first season of the awesome series Sherlock on the BBC is that Moriarty is behind everything.
Rule number 6.
Sorry, the accent keeps on going.
No accident may ever help the detective,
nor must he ever have an unaccounted for intuition that proves to be right. There are many times in the story where Poirot does not act despite a hunch. He has no evidence. He waits for it. And though he doesn't always explain himself to his sidekick, which at times seems like Christie is unnecessarily hiding information from the reader, she does let us know exactly when Poirot has them so we can make our own conclusions.
Rule number 7. The detective himself must not commit the crime.
Spoiler alert! Poirot didn't do it. Just throwing that out there. I'm sorry if it's ruined it for you, but Poirot's not guilty. Sorry.
Rule number 8. The detective is bound to declare any clues he has discovered.
Again, the mysterious affair at Styles does not disappoint in this regard. You see what Poirot finds. However, Mr. Poirot, the OCD detective, is not really generous on sharing his lines of speculation.
Rule number 9. The sidekick of the detective,
The Watson,
must not conceal from the reader any thoughts that pass through his mind. His intelligence must be slightly, but very slightly, below that of the average reader.
Hastings is the sidekick of the story. He tells us all of his thoughts. All of them. Yeah, I might have referred to him as an idiot sometimes, and not in a nice way. Idiot. Dork. What? That fits the rule. Idiot!
Rule number 10. Twin brothers and doubles in general may not appear unless we have been duly prepared for it.
There is an attempt of framing by look-alike that is revealed early in this novel, so hence falls within the parameters of this 10th and final commandment. So, those are the 10 commandments. I really like that voice better. Those are the 10 commandments of the Golden Age detective story. Use them wisely. Christie wrote this story on a bet. She bet her friends that she could write a mystery novel where no one could guess the killer until the end. I think she did a good job at that. But the story is too full of red herrings. And in my opinion, that made the wrap-up of the mystery needlessly long. I give this book 2.5 stars out of 5, but I want to make this clear. I don't want my review to dissuade you from reading more Agatha Christie. This is her very first book out of over 100. She's sold over 4 billion, with a B, copies of her books worldwide. Also, she's the world's most translated author. So I just want to mention my favorite Agatha Christie story before I go. My Christie recommendation is a play. It's called Witness for the Prosecution. That's all for now. My next review should be up soon. Bye!